was discussed earlier. Okay, are we ready to see the competencies? So let's take it one by one, no, per course or per item. Here, Philippine government, new constitution with human rights. Third, you see 3%. Why? Let me just emphasize that when you will be taking your Gen Ed exam, no, or Gen Ed test, which is part of the licensure examination, 20%. 20% of your Gen Ed exam would be coming from social science. The question becomes, how is 20% divided? 3% comes from that. Philippine government, new constitution with human rights. No? Kung tinambay pa ni sa 20 items that would come from social science in your general education exam, 3 would come from Philippine Constitution or Philippine government, new constitution with human rights. So, what should you focus? Can we read competency number 1? Go. Competency number 1 asks you to study what particular topic? There is a very clear emphasis to competency number 1. Forms of government. Forms of government. And of course, everything that should be included in the forms of government should be part of that. Competency number 2, please read. Go. If competency number 1 asks you to focus your review in the forms of government, how about competency number 2? It's about the present constitution. If we say present constitution, what constitution are we referring to? The 1987 Constitution. But it also asks you to somehow be familiar with the previous constitutions. But your focus should be 1987 Constitution. That is your review in the afternoon. Meaning, I'm not an expert on that, so I will not discuss that. I'm just sharing to you the competencies. So whole afternoon will be allotted for Philippine government, new constitution with human rights. Shall I proceed? Okay, that's the first among the, was it 8? 8 ba? 8 courses. Let's proceed. Another 3% of the 20% in social science Gen Ed comes from economics, taxation, land reform, and cooperatives. Parehas na weight sa Constitution. May I ask everyone to please read first competency. Go. Parang the power is trying to die on us. Okay, what's the focus with first competency? Economic conditions. Actually, it's about current condition of Philippine economy. And, of course, if you speak about current condition of the Philippine economy, GNP should always be there. And let me throw this question to you. How are we faring in terms of our GNP rate? Annual rate. GDP annual rate. Have you heard the latest news? Philippines has among the fastest GNP annual rate in the whole of Asia for the past 3 years now. Now, that's something na we should give credit where credit is due, and that is to the Pinoy administration. If you notice, kanaging mo agita sa mga gasolinahan, diba no? In fairness, dugay-dugay na sa tasigig rollback. And we are looking forward for that time that the per liter of gas or diesel would reach 30 something. And we are nearing there because kung atong muagi sa SRP, 41 na lang. No? 41 na ang gas, ang ilahang diesel or 30 plus. And it's a sign that the economy is stable, that we are doing well. But is that all about our present economic condition? Economists would say no, because despite the very steadfast, the very resilient economic growth as presented by the GNP and GDP rate, we still have almost the same stable sa dato ang poverty incident rate. Kung paspas kay pag-go sa itong economy ba, kay taas ka itong GNP, GDP, nga naman sa nga ato ang poverty incidence rate, stable sa siya. Wala siya ni-ero. Wala ni-increase, wala siya ni-decrease. Mas posible pa rin mo increase kaysa mo decrease. So that becomes the big problem until today. No? How do we reduce, how do we alleviate poverty in the Philippines? Kaya dito na ekonomiya, pero daghan niya po pobre. Diba? Makareconcile mo, nindot kaya ekonomiya, pero ang daghan pa mapobre. Kinsa man di ay naka-experience sa nindot nga economy. No? So, that aspect we still have to look into. And of course, how different is the GNP from the GDP? Or if we speak about gross national product, is it the same with gross domestic product? How do we compute GNP and GDP? That's part of competency 1. Please read second competency. Go. Economic principles and concepts. Do we recall economic principles? Napabatay mahinamduman. May smile lagi mo. Basta mo smile kaya, at times the smile is affirmative, no? But most of the time, the smile is a suggestion of something else other than affirmative. Sige, kung sa itong ma-remember na economic principles. Oh, of course, naagide yun ang number 1 na ma-remember, ang demand o supply. But do you remember the principle behind the law of demand and the law of supply? Because remembering the terms demand and supply does not tantamount to remembering the law of demand and the law of supply. This will be our focus this morning. I'll review you on economics, taxation, and land reform. So reserve the principles that you still recall because I'll ask you later to recall more. How many percent na do we have? Or were we able to mention 6? No? 3 from Philippine Constitution and 3 from economics. Next. This is the biggest chunk. The biggest chunk of social science general education is from Philippine history. 4%. If you take a look at the competencies, what do you notice? Mukhang ang tanan naman gyapon na mo eh. Please read competency number 1. Go. So ang tanan na gyapon. But you know what? What I should ask you to focus will not be the dates. But this is based on my experience when I also took the licensure examination for teachers. Just don't ask the year. But events are important. Kaya ba, kabalo ka? Because most of the thing that would come out in Philippine history would be arranging of events. So you're given like 4 or 5 events, and then you are to arrange which happened first to the last. So it's important to know that, like for example, Philippine independence, the death of Bonifacio, the execution of, let's say, Rizal, no? The cry of Balintawak, these things, at least you know which comes first. And it does not require you to memorize dates. It simply requires you to be familiar. Diba? Like, who came first in the Philippines? In terms of the colonizers. Kana makarecall ka, like for example, pre-Spanish period, no? Pre-colonial period. What kind of a life did the Filipinos have? So, mubalik din ka ito ang usap ito system. Katong pre-colonial system nila. Datu. Diba? Mawali siya ang pre-colonial. Na, if you try to see, the women actually will have more or less the same equal status with that of the men. No? But the abot dayon ang, muna to siya, mga colonizers, mga Spaniards, and then things like that. So, events. Events are more important than the dates. With the events I gave earlier, Philippine independence, I gave execution of Rizal, the death of Bonifacio, the cry of Balintawak, which came first? Logical reasoning would also tell you, of course, it's not Philippine independence. Diba? Because all these events were an effort towards Philippine independence. Diba? So it's a matter of, asan naguna? Ang cry sa Balintawak, ang execution ni Rizal, or ang death ni Bonifacio? The cry of Balintawak. Because the cry of Balintawak, or ang sigaw ng Pugadlawin, actually launched the Filipino-Spanish War. If you remember, this was the time that kato ilang gitir ba? Ilang gigisi ang sedula. Yan ay constantly, sila mabuhay ang Pilipinas. And this was the Katipuneros doing that. So, competency number 1 asks you to remember that. To know the events. Which was created first? The KKK or the Liga Filipina? Luhar dito ka events. And ang sayong na dayon. Yung atong tag-upat or tag-5 ang ipa-arrange. KKK or La Liga Filipina? La Liga. Because the La Liga bridge the creation of the KKK. The La Liga Filipina was of course founded by Rizal, diba? But then what happened? 3 days after the La Liga Filipina, or the La Liga Filipina was created, Rizal was exiled to Dapitan. That's why the La Liga did not stay there for a long time. So ni-disband. The La Liga, the original members of the La Liga were the ones who created the Katipunan. And among those original members of the La Liga was Andres Bonifacio. That's why Bonifacio really did idolize Rizal. Okay, even before Bonifacio met Rizal in person, he was already secretly reading the novels of Rizal. So their first and last meetings in Bonifacio and Rizal was during the founding of the La Liga Filipina. And that's very historical. That's why, katong si Rizal, exiled na siya, diba? Yan, ganahan man to siya. You remember? He wanted to become a doctor, diba? Sa Cuba. Because Cuba was in civil war during that time. So he wrote the Spanish Governor General and he was given a go signal. Pero pagsakay niya sa barko, it was supposed to be leading him to Cuba, gidiretso siya pa doon sa Spain. Nga, on the way, nanakay na ito mga Katipuneros. because they wanted Rizal to be, they wanted to help him and somehow to escape. But Rizal said, no, I will not escape my fate. So kanisa siya mga events. Very important. So let us not memorize, but let us be aware which event come first. Nga easier naman sa kasiya, recall, basta aware na. Okay, please read competency 2. Go. So, it's asks you to focus on what? Events. Current events. The latest socio-political landscape of the Philippines. So we should be aware about what was the latest scam wherein a lot of our legislators were a part of. And in lieu of that, di ba freeze? What is the latest naman in terms of government budgeting and government financing? Because they say, the money from national government, it will no longer course through to the legislator. Hindi sa mga congressman o senador. Asa naman mo agi para maka-reach sa public. You should be aware of the grassroots participatory budgeting process. Muna gitawag sa unang PUB, the bottom-up budgeting. Karon gilista ng pangan. Grassroots participatory budgeting process. GPBP. Under na siya sa DILG. So ang kwarta from national government, diretso na siya sa CSO or sa mga tao. But you have to be able to create an organization. Kung saan din buhaton. Muna yung efforts sa DILG. They go to different barangays. They try to talk with the people in the barangays and tell them to organize a group. Each group now can actually make their own project proposal. So, ang mga tao na mismo mag-imong proposal, sa kailang kinahanglanon. Kaysa una go, they say there's a mismatch with the project of the congressman or senator to what is the need of the community. Kaysa una, ang project sa senator normally does not reflect the needs of the community. It was basically reflective of their needs. That's why most of the projects that you notice are infra. Road widening, road beautification, and then of course the issue on creating the kaniba mga flyover na maski ang flyover is supposed to bridge two cities or two areas together. Yung mag-flyover ka, pwede na siya lakton, no? Pointless. Because that is where money lies. So it does not reflect the need of the community. Sa grassroots participatory budgeting process, what they're doing is the people themselves. They create a group, they do a proposal, they submit it. And if it's accepted, directly, the money would be named sa ilang leader. Diretsyo na sa ilahan. Mauni siya ang huli sa PIDA. Eh wala na may money ang mga senators o ang congressman. So, can you foresee what it's going to be like during the 2016 elections? Kinsa kay mong daga, no? Wala naman rin bida. At to naman nga to. So, ang gingon sa uban, mahupay sa niya to mga legislators. Magpadami ka sa disla na to, magrupo-grupo sa community. Because the problems in the community is this. If you go to a local community, which is, let's say, a majority are farmers, none of them can know how to make a project proposal. Gitraining mo sa sauna, pag yung project proposal niya, Binisay on Manila. Eh kung madamay mo translate. This now, again, becomes the loophole and can actually bridge not only the money from the grassroots to national government, can actually bridge corruption, di ba? Kahit kinahanglan sa sila na i-mine within their kabaw musuwa. So pwede na sa magpapost na ito ang mga local politicians, labi na ang mga barangay captain. Doon nun is barangay captain. Kaya ito naman sa community. So, we don't know what's going to happen, but at least it's direct now to the people. And hopefully, mo result yun ang effort ni Pinoy. Because it's difficult what he's doing. And that's part. Present events. Part of history. That's the biggest 4%. Do you remember the other two? We already covered 10% of the 20% in society. 3% Philippine government and constitution, 3% economics, and 4% Philippine history. The rest of the 10% comes from this. 2% society and culture with family planning. 2% na siya, no? Pero look at the competencies. Please read competency number 1. Go. Theories, concepts, and perspectives in society, culture, and even family planning. Wow, for only 2%. Diba? If we try to relate this into the number of items that should be part of the question, it means for your entire Gen Ed exam, 20 items comes from society, and 2 would come from society and culture. Pero look at the coverage. No? For only 2 items, it's asking you to recall theories, concepts in relation to society, culture. Napag family planning. You will have a separate Mansad review on that. Please read competency number 2 for society and culture. Go. What makes us Filipinos part of this coverage? The other 2% comes from Rizal and other heroes. Number 1, please read. Based on competency number 1, what should you focus in the review? It's about his works. More than really Rizal's life, you have to focus on his works. And what are his greatest work? You always go back to his novels because these are his greatest work. Duha. The Noli, the Elfile, but contrary to many, he actually wrote a 3rd novel, but he was not able to finish because he was exiled, and then later he was executed. And the first 2 were written in Spanish. The Noli and the Elfile were both written in Spanish. That's why many are saying, is Rizal really nationalistic? He did not write in Filipino. He wrote in Spanish. But the 3rd novel, which he was not able to finish, was the first novel he attempted to write in Filipino. Mo pinaka-first na Filipino. Mo sa Filipino, no, it's not because he died an untimely death. It was because he had difficulty in writing in Filipino. Makuha yan na human, no? You know, Filipinos will always have something to say about this. But the title was Makamisa. 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 It was still about the Spanish friars. Because this has always been the focus of Rizal's novel, Frailocracia. How the system of the friars affected not only their religious life, but even the socio-political lives of the Filipinos. So he was not really angry with Christianity or the religion itself, but it's because of the system by which the friars managed religion and the system as a whole. No? So that was the 3rd. Nasa ikatulong novel. And of course, important events in his life. Please read 2nd competency. Go. It's not just sufficient to remember Rizal, but for Rizal and other heroes, the other heroes should also be emphasized. Like, who were Rizal's greatest contender to the title National Hero? Andres Bonifacio. And who else? Because there were three of them. Emilio Aguinaldo. Actually, if you look at other books, particularly that written by Leon Maria Guerrero, it would always give the emphasis that we have the three national heroes. But ultimately lang, the American government who sponsored the title, no, National Hero, gave the national hero to Rizal. But equally, no, he said there that Bonifacio and Aguinaldo are also national heroes, only that he was not chosen. Mukha bang award-winning body, no? Madepende kung kinsay muhatag sa award. Maglahi-lahi ng best actress. Maureen Ana ang dating. But he was chosen. That's why many would critic him to be an American-sponsored hero. Okay, during naman to sa US government, no, that he was awarded that. But let's not forget about Bonifacio, nor should we forget about Aguinaldo and heroines. Melchora Aquino, Gabriela Selang, and the other females who also contributed a lot to the history of the Philippines. 2% philosophy. The last examination daw, majority was from Philippine history. Katong last na exam. But depende lang eh. Because per year, you have different people who made the questions. So depende sa ilang inclination. But these are the competencies for philosophy. I'll proceed, ha? 2% also comes from psychology. Theories of human behavior. In total, again, 20% of your Gen Ed examination comes from social science. Are we clear? Okay. So, what is our focus this morning? I will go back to economics. And I will ask again the question I posted earlier. Do you remember economic principles? You mentioned, ano? What did you mention? Klaro ka ba ani nga pagka-slant? Is this better or the same now? Okay. You mentioned about demand and supply. Anything else? Kana ra yun? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Of utang nani marginal ha? Marginal returns. What else? The law closely related to this. Nasa na gitawag ang law of diminishing marginal utility. What else? Anything. Wala, shoot, pag-uwi sa doon, isang tayo yung economics teacher, wag mo na-remember. May ginawa ko estudyante din, malaki ng tako. Ha? What else? I-appeal na lang nato ang GNP o GDP. Sige. Nagkaikugay na sila. A word, a phrase, terms, concepts, anything. Not you can remember, Mami, no, ikaw may kinadulan, ma'am. Saman, ma'am. Well, that's good. If you are a mother, even if you're not aware, you're actually using economic principles. Ha? O, sige. Salamat, ita. else? Mutigog sila ba sa likutan o nila? Ha? Ah, sige. Thank you, ma'am. Oh. Ang mga isms. Uy, nidaghan na. Sige. What else pa? Pero you are wanting to say something pa, sir. Market what? Huh? How about from the gentleman at the back? Mas ma-feel na to ang tugnaw kung dili ta mo participate. Oh, see, of course that's economics. Basta mapuno din nato diri, okay na ko, sige. What else? Di ko ka-start kung makuha ni. Ha? Okay. Ni-mention si Ma'am sa car. Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. Magsa pa? Ma'am? Cost of? Ako lang i-revise pa ha. Cost of production lang na. Magsa pa? We cannot be expected to apply economic principles if we do not know the principles. Sige, last two na siguro. Okay. Di kami masuwatan din yung napita. Ha? Red ba yung kaya mo? Sa mga dautan mata, masyak sa color. Sa paman. Two more. I need two more na lang. Scarcity, what other concept is related to scarcity? Okay, thank you. Hoarding. O sige, kota na daw. Ayun. Napa? Okay. Unsa pa sir? Napa sir? Sige. Sige. Let's focus here, no? I'm trying to hit this particular competency. But remember, this is a review. So, more or less, I'm thinking you already have a background, no? What do you remember about demand and supply? What's demand and what is supply? Huh? Demand as a need is the verb, that's demand. But demand as a noun is different. And so, what is demand and what is supply? More or less, they have the same definition. Huh? It's actually pertaining to the number of goods and services that for demand, this is for D, consumers are willing and able to purchase at a given time and place. Whereas, if it's applied the same, number of goods and services that producers are willing and able to produce at a given time and place. So technically, your idea of the demand and supply might relate to your thinking that may nung demand ang ikinahanglan na. Correct. But technically speaking, pila man ang ikinahanglan. So you always go back to the number. No? And emphasis in demand and supply would always be given to these two words. Willingness and ability. Why? Let's say for example, for somebody who does window shopping. What do you do kung mag-window shop ka? Ha? Oh, mag-canvas. Pero may ito canvas ng sir. There are others who actually go inside the store and actually fits on the clothes and then just return it back. Supposedly, dili na yung ana because the term window shopping originated from the US. Because in the US, normally, shops always come with glass. Glass, kaya siya yung mga manikin diha. So when you window shop, dito ka dapat musulod. Tanaw lang kanya. Normally, iha naman yung mga nag-go-up price. Is a person who does window shopping, does that person have a demand over that particular good? Let's say sa Nina, nag-window shop siya because happy na ang Christmas party. Nakita siya kung sa iyang Christmas party dress. If you go window shopping, do you have a demand over that particular commodity or good? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Mas louder yung yes. Yes or no? What condition is satisfied when you do window shopping? Is it willingness or is it ability? Or is it both? You only have this. You are willing. But most of those who do window shopping, they do not have the ability yet. Because they will still have to wait for the 15th or the 30th. Kanang next sweldo, usapas na palit. So, I'll go back to the question. Is there demand in that situation? Answer is no. Because for you to have a demand over a good or a service, you should have both willingness and ability. Kaya kung willingness na, willing yun tao, kita ka na, di ba? Daghan kita ganang palit doon. But we are constrained with our ability to purchase. The same thing with supply. You cannot possibly supply anything not unless you have both. Di ba? Ganang kita mag-negosyo. Because in the Philippines now, the way for you nga mo asenso, easier din siya nga mag-negosyo. Di ba? Because we are a capitalist economy. If we are a capitalist economy, the economic progress will always be faster if you are the capitalist and you are not the laborer. Diba? But kung ang negosyo na nasa pangunahuna, we don't have the ability to start the business, you will never have this. That's why if we speak about these two concepts, these conditions should be met. Willingness and ability. Clear. But in relation to that, there's also a law pertaining to demand. Familiar ta ang law of demand? O sige, who can state the law? Namatay law sa demand. Ha? Okay. We go back to variables, ma'am. Kung saan duha ka variables to consider when we speak about the law? You have price and quantity demanded. Diba? Which is the dependent variable? Price or quantity demanded? Dependent variable. Magdepende din ang price imong quantity demanded. Price is your independent variable because price affects the dependent variable which is quantity demanded. Meaning, pila man ka buok. Diba, ang gidaghanon sa imong gipalit or sa imong paliton, diba, normally it depends on pila. So, we say therefore sa law sa demand, the higher the price, what happens to your quantity demanded? Ang gidaghanon, the lower is your quantity demanded. And the lower the price, the higher is your quantity demanded. Diba? Is there anybody here who does not belong to the normal curve? In my case, lahigit siya. Because the higher the price, the higher is my demand. Kani siya ha, rational viewing siya. No, na maugin siya reaction sa mga normal na people like us. Basta tayo, exception to the rule. No? But that's generally the principle. And why? Why are consumers willing to purchase when prices are low? And they are not willing to purchase when prices are high. Nga naman. Nga ginamtang pala ko barato. Kaya bitaw na i-sale, magkabuang yun, mga yung sale. Mo half day ha, o duty, okay? Para makauna sa sale. Save, kanasan siya ha. The concept of savings, ato sa nang emphasize later, what we mean by saving. Do you save kung barato ha? No. Because technically, when you speak about savings, savings is the money left when you are able to purchase your needs. Diba? Kung nakapamalit na ka sa tanan, nakabayad na ka sa tanan mong bayaran, which are necessities, the money left, that's what you call savings. So, if you try to look at it that way, Filipinos, can we be expected to save? If we define savings as the money left after you're able to pay all your bills, all your dues, and you're able to purchase all your necessities, can we save? Dili ka kasi. Because our minimum wage is actually normally equal or even lesser than our necessities. Muna mag-listod yun ang Pinoy og save. Ngayon nang pag yun, according to a financial guru, dapat daw 10% of what you earn monthly should be paid for savings. Kung saan na lang, mangutang na yan ka para makasave ka 10%, sayop ka po ng concept, di ba? So sa mga developing countries like the Philippines, na how much is the minimum wage sa Region 7? Ha? 343 na sir na, kaya nag-add matag 13 pesos na cola. So, 340 something. That's your gross. Gross. If you subtract the necessary deduction, PhilHealth, SSS, Pag-ibig, di na siya kabalo 300. No, yan, mag-save pa po ng 10%. No, so, lisod siya. Muna siya ang concept sa saving. So, do you save? If prices are low, this is the reason why we purchase when prices are low. Because of the double P. We call it purchasing power. Meaning, you can buy more when prices are low. Diba? Can you remember 10 years ago, how much or how many bags of grocery will you be able to carry with 1,000 pesos? 10 years ago ba? Siguro na kay duha, no? Duha or tulo tingali, no? Ka shopping bags. But today, at 1,000, usa. Depende man kung usa imong gipang soon. Diba? Because your peso, the money that you have, becomes more powerful when prices are low. Sa una, katong elementary pa tatagaan kag piso or 5, dako na kayo na, mga dato na kayo, mapamalit na kagdaghan. No snacks, makasakay pa ka, o tricycle, back and forth, padong sa imong balay. But now, elementary students would normally need 20 pesos. Because when prices are higher, ang atong peso walay bili. Walay power si peso kung mahal. That's the reason why we always buy when prices are low. Because the money becomes more powerful. And on the other side, the law of supply still has the same variables, price and QS, or quantity supply. If you are a producer and when prices are higher, what is your attitude? Ikay na maligya, niya mahal. Mamaligya ka or dili? Ang dili man. Kaya mamalit, i-insik na nga attitude. Bitaw ka, insik, di ba? Bahala ba ito, basta Naiintindihan mo palit, pinagabalingan siya. Pero, kaya siya, by the way, who's the person who gave the law of demand and supply? Do not forget this person, ha? He is the father of microeconomics. Alfred Marshall. The father of microeconomics, because demand and supply are topics under microeconomics. Ha? Ako lang yung tagang-answer, oy? Higher. The lesser the price, the lesser is the quantity supply. Why? Kung sa explanation ani. Correct. Dili ka makaginansya, oy, kung barato, di mo pumahayo. Mag-charitable institution na lang ka. Reason? Profit. The motivation of the entrepreneurs or mga proprietors will always be to gain profit. The higher the price, the higher the profit. And so the higher the price, the higher will be the quantity supply. The lesser the price, the lesser is the profit. And so the lesser is the quantity supply. That's the law of supply. That's the law of demand. But there's actually what we call the combined laws. We have the law of demand and supply. I-combine as lang duha. And what does it say? When demand, sila na ang independent variable. Yung price na nahimong dependent. When demand exceeds supply, what happens to the price? And when supply exceeds demand, what happens to the price? When demand is higher than supply, what happens to the price? Increase or decrease? Increase, diba? Kaya daghan ba kayo nang hinahanglan? Gamay lang ang supply. But when supply is greater than demand, price normally decreases, diba? And how do you call this situation? How do you call this? How do you call this economic condition? When demand is higher than supply. What S is that? Shortage. And when supply is higher than demand, you call that surplus. That's why, if you go to surplus shops, prices will always be low. Because surplus would mean sobra sa kwota. Sobra. Kung sa sobra, barato, yun na kayo, pakapin na naman. So kung ika-sobra, meaning second na ka, second wife, or sa, pakapin na yun, taon ka. Shortage, this is a shortage. It always increases the price. You remember the time when we experienced rice shortage? Katong maskig ang, NFA? Maglain na sa NFA. Or box office na kay NFA. It even reached 40 something per kilo, NFA. Shortage, surplus. Clear? Okay. So, mapadayon ta. Napata sa demand of supply. Manag-review. Yan. Dagan-dagan ang pag-naisgutan. How about the law of, I'll erase na lang siguro ha, the other terms para it's easier. Who remember this? I remember it was ma'am there who mentioned law of diminishing marginal returns and law of diminishing marginal utility. Do you remember this, ma'am? Here na lang po, ha? Okay. What are keywords here? I forgot the term marginal. What are the keywords here? Diminishing, marginal, and returns. Huh? If you take a look at it, the difference with the first law to the second is only the last term. Huh? Law of diminishing, marginal, utility. The law of diminishing marginal returns is actually the side of the producers, whereas the law of diminishing marginal utility is on the side of the consumers. What do we mean by utility in economics? Utility means satisfaction. No? Okay. If you go to a fiesta, normally, what do you experience? Kanang fiesta sa probinsya ba? Kaon, correct. House number 1. Kung sige, kaunin mo, sir, sa house number 1. Lechon. Humba. Redundant, no? Lechon, humba. Yan. Nanay siya, let's say. Salad, macaroni salad. House number 2. Offers the same. Lechon, humba, salad. Oh. House number 3, the same. You get the drift already? That's a perfect exemplification of law of diminishing marginal utility. Marginal would mean added. Nadungag. Utility is satisfaction. This is in relation to, familiar with kanang mangala ka ba? No? But ang craving will not only apply to those who are pregnant. Even if we are not pregnant, do you experience like waking up and saying, "Hindi ko kayo ikaw mo." Bugnaw mo naman ako, gusto na lang ikaw mo nun. Oh, si ma'am, lomi, yun ha. Yung kanang ko nung kayo nga lomi. Diba? Sige. Atong gamitin na example ni ma'am, lomi. Ganahan siya kayo mag-lomi. Sa first, di mo nga cup sa lomi. Level of satisfaction mo, from 1 to 10. 10 din ka, di ba? Kay, dugay ko kay kasi yung kaunong lomi, nakauna ka 10. So what do? You proceed to your second cup. Sa ikaduha, level of satisfaction, 1 to 10. Dili ko sabihin, 10, no? 9 na lang. Pero okay, agyapon kay 9 man. Cup number 3. Wala pa maging siya na-satisfied. Sa ikatulo, kung saan naman yung level of satisfaction? 1 to 10. Siguro na naka sa 5 or 7. If I will short that, it's easier to understand when you speak it in terms of narrative, diba? But when you put it in the chart, it might actually be not the same. Okay, I see. So let's say, for example, this is the table. Points would mean how many times did you eat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it means the same. It means the same product, or in this case, the looming thing. MU would mean marginal utility or your added satisfaction. We put a blank in the first point because you don't have an added satisfaction yet. Okay, first time na mo, so automatic siya na total. When you had your second cup, you had an added utility of 9. So you see, when you add 10 and 9, that's 19. So your total satisfaction increased. But then, pagsunod na, on your third cup, nahimod lang 5 ang na-add na utility. So when you add 19 and 5, that's 24. On your fourth, kinikaon pag-idali ka. Tawag pa ka na sa kamay. Ang imong added utility, imong satisfaction ba, tulo na lang. Ni kalima pag yun ka, 0. Kung muan pag yun ka, mag-negative. Which means, mo na siya, sir, vomiting, or maglaki na rin mong lawas, sa imuhang craving. So, if you take a look at it here, this is the example of the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law states that with every added consumption to the same good, your marginal utility diminishes. But, tanawa, even total utility still increases. But, it will reach, look at number 4 and 5. What happened to 4 and 5? The same. Because you reach now what we call saturation point. Kanang napuno na ba ka? Saturated na. Because the same raman ang imong gikaon. So, even if with a very increasing rate, sa total utility, your marginal utility is decreasing. That is what the law is about. That's why you call it law of diminishing marginal utility. With every added consumption of the same good, at the same time, your total utility increases, but your marginal utility diminishes at a steady rate until you reach the point of saturation. Yung kung mudumag pa ka, mag-negative na ka na rin. So, decrease na rin siya. This is the same principle with this. But the only difference is that, here, utility, your satisfaction, di ba? When you eat. Because consumer perspective man eh. Here naman, producers. Like, let's say, for example, if, let's say, you have one hectare of land. In your 1 hectare of land, you only have 1 worker. Usa ka tao ang nagtrabaho sa usa ka sa imong usa ka hectare na land. From 1 to 10, unsay return niya? Return would mean what? Return would mean yield or output. Iyang output pa, pila yung nahuman. So let's say from 1 to 10, usa ka hektarya sa usa ka. Siguro mo start siya 10. Siguro 10 sacks, whatever, kung yung i-produce. So what do you realize? You realize that this is such a big lot. Usa ka tao. So what do? You divide it into 2. You have 1 worker here, 1. So what happens? Ni-increase yung total production, but somehow, ang iyong production, individually, ni-lessen. Diba? Kaya duha naman sila. So you realize, dakong yapon kayo ang yuta. So what do? You further divided it. So you divided it by 4. So you have now 4 workers. Because you have 4 workers working in 1 hectare, nag-increase yapon ang imong total utility. But their individual output decreases. Until such time, imo gyud mo siyang i-divide. O, pila na? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 people working in your 1 hectare of land. So your total output increases. Kaya daghan naman kikita mo ng trabaho, di ba? But individually, ni-decrease sila because their working space becomes limited with every added labor. So, this is the same here. Ang only difference lang niya is you change that because na naman siya mahal, right? It will look this way. I'll use the word O to mean output. Marginal output, total output, average output. V, I here would mean variable input, and this would mean labor. Diba? So, 1, 2. Okay, I see it. In the law of diminishing marginal returns, because we're talking about yield or output, I wrote here VI. VI would mean variable input. You can actually add one more table here. Your other table could be your FI, which means fixed input. In this case, your fixed input would be land. Meaning, ang imong land, the same ra gyud siya. Ang nag-change lang nimo your VI, which is labor. So, at first, usa ka worker in your 1 hectare of land. So, there is no marginal utility kaya siya may usa, so I added. Total output niya is 10. Average also is 10 because 10 divided by 1 is still 10. When you added your second worker, the added output of the second worker is 9. So you add 10 to 9, that's 19. You divide 19 to 2, ilan? 9.5, right? Sakto? So individually, ang kada worker, 9.5 yung contribution. So sa ito pa si worker number 1, nakuha ang iyang productivity. Ang iyang return, instead of 10, hindi mo lang 9.5, may naman sila. You add in more. So from 2, your worker became 3. The third worker added 7. So the 19 was added 7, it became 26. 26 divided by 3 is 0.1. Who has a calculator there? 8 point... Sakto ba? 8.66. Individually, each of them already contributed lang 8.66. If you look at worker number 2, he used to produce 9.5. But now that you have worker number 3, nahimo na lang yung production 8.66. But look at worker 1, from 10, 9.5, nahimo lang 8.66. So you still continue to add one more. So from 3, your workers became 4. The added output of worker number 4 is only 5. So you add 5 to 26, 31. You divide 31 by 4, 7 point. Individually, kada usa sa 4 workers only has an output of 7.75. And then, you add pa yun one more, so nahimo na silang 5 from 1. The 5th worker is only able to add 1. So from 31, nahimo 32. 32 divided by 5. Individually, each of them is already, makuha din siya na-contribute sa output. So you see, your total output increases, but at a diminishing rate. And individually, there would come a time that your workers will no longer be as productive as before because you only have limited space. What do you do then in order that the total output and the added output would have to increase with the average? You have to add a piece of land. So instead of 111, somehow you can add another piece of land para they will still be productive. This is the same, I can apply the same principle to, let's say, for example, a particular office. Let's say, office of the mayor. In the office of the mayor, if you only have one worker working there, that worker would be very productive, diba? But, ang iyang productivity, sobra-sobrasan. Because ma-overwork mo siya usa, so you added 2. So the productivity of 1 would lessen because you will always think that 2 already are working. Until such time na mag-add ka, to be very specific now, there are LGUs or local government units that has an employee na, ang iyang trabaho is, taga-photocopy rin siya. E nasa usa, taga-tubang rin siya telepono. Where is the yield there? Where is the returns? It's very negative. It's diminishing because you have too many people working at the same office. So, if you want to increase the number of workers, make sure that the workplace would also equate to the number of workers you have. Otherwise, instead of increasing productivity or output, you will actually be decreasing the productivity of the workers. That's the law of diminishing marginal returns. Are we clear? Okay. I want to go back to shortage and I want to differentiate scarcity from shortage. Are Are they the same? You mentioned earlier, when does a shortage occur? When demand is higher than supply. How about scarcity? Supply is lower? Okay. Which of the two would mean depletion of resources? Depletion, meaning zero. Scarcity or shortage? Which one would mean limit? Meaning, there is a supply, but supply is insufficient. And so, meaning, there is a limit to supply. Which is which? One would mean the lack, meaning the depletion, zero quantity. While the other one would simply mean there's a limit. Shortage is what? When you say, na-short ko, shortage lagi. Pero kung sa may yung pasabot sa na-short ko, ang pasabot sa na-short ko, napa. Sakto ba na? Ikag na-short ko, napa ko'y kwarta. Na-short na ko, mo na. Di ba yun, na-scars ko. Oh. So siya na sa kanya, inappropriate sa ng word na imong gigamit. Shortage means lack, depletion, wala yun. Muna na short, naputol ba? Wala, namutdan. Scarcity would mean limited or limit. Naa, pero kundo ba diri? You get the point? That's why you say, scarce resource. I'll go back to the example earlier, rice shortage. Why don't we say rice scarcity? Di man bagay paminaw? Pati paminaw, rice shortage. Rice scarcity, why angay? Pero ano man? Katong rice shortage, unsa ni tabo? Nahutdan gyud ta og supply sa rice. Pero others would say, wata nahutdan oy. Ningos na hoarding. Oh, ato i-relate sa iyong hoarding. What is hoarding then? The best way to define the hoarding is man-made shortage or artificial shortage. Meaning, naagyo siya yung supply. Ganing lang ang supply, gitaguan sa mga producers because the effect that they wanted to have is increase in price. Remember, diba? If there is shortage, price would normally escalate. So, sa tigitawag, hinimo ka sa tao. Dili siya nature's cause, diba? Kaya we are supposed to say rice shortage, the reason for the rice shortage should be natural calamities. Like, niabot sa ubi. Gidestroy ka na ng mga animuno na unta. Ing-ana unta siya. Muna iklamang shortage. But, rice shortage, kaya gitaguan ka di ba? Naka-remember mo, ato na yung mga na-confiscate sa different warehouses. Yan ang bulok na lang itong uban nga itong NFA side. So, artificial. Artificial shortage, that's hoarding. That's lack, this is limit. Meaning, there is a supply of gold, right? But it's insufficient. There is a supply of land, but the supply of land is limited. Look at Cebu Normal University. Diba? Anong gipang knockdown na to ang mga buildings? Let me take this opportunity to share this to you. I'm the University Public Information Officer because CNU does not have a piece of land by which we can expand horizontally. The only way for CNU to expand is vertically. So we will create our own Horizons 101. Pero as of the moment, what is soon to rise there by June 2015 is a 7-story building. Yung ginakdaw na mo ang kahaan because according sa survey, sa DPWH, dili man siya makasustain kung patasan siya. Kay karaan man to siya ng building. So mga hulog siya. So ginakdaw siya, niya soon to rise. Kato siyang, amazing na kayo na 7-story. The ground floor would be up for rentals. No? So, pwede siya na kung rent ang Jollibee, ang mga Chowking, pwede siya niya. Then, basement parking. And then, from 2nd down to 7th floor, all, they say, high technology in the mga rooms. So, it can hold up to 3 classes in one because we wanted to become a real university, and real university abroad normally has 1, 2, 3 classes fused together so that the professor can have only one lecture. No, yan. Kung ano lang siya, consultation na lang siya gayon. So, air-conditioned room, and we will have 1 floor that is our, for our tourism students. So, mura siya ka ng hotel na. That if we have also visitors, they can also stay there. And this one is not because we wanted to pay something new, but this is because CNU was given, we were given the funding, 10 million funding to become the Center for Tourism Research Development in Region 7. No, niya. Para mabalik ang iyang historical value, kuhaon yun na siyang annex kay. Sa una, kanina mo siya ang building. This is the oldest building established in 1902. The admin building. Yeah, wala din siya connection kay bago mo nga building. So, atong i-knockdown diha ang annex, ang extension na nag-connect sa duha ka building. So, later, maglakaw-lakaw din ha, makita na nato ang sun or ang moon. Okay? Wala naman na siya connection. And then, soon sa to rise would be another 7-story there. Ang ACAD building, i-knockdown sa na siya. The one Fonte 5 office dito. 7-story building na sad. Because the only way for CNU to expand is to go up. Up in the sky. Why? Because we have 18 million funding per year. So yearly CNU is given 18 million because CNU is named as among the 20, among the 112 state universities and colleges in the Philippines as leading universities kay top performing man permi sa nurses o sa teachers examination. That's why until Pinoy is president every year we get 18 million funding, and the 18 million cannot be spent anywhere else other than building. So kailangan niyo siya i-put up. Then another 18 million for training. So these are na pwede magamit og lain training result. So that's why we have so many constructions. Because there's a limit of space. You don't say land shortage. It's always been scarcity of land. And that's the difference, because also here, this is temporary. How did we solve the problem on rice shortage? Yan sa ito na ito pag-solve ang problem sa rice shortage. Nipalita, diba? Nag-import ata sa atong mga silingan. Pag-import na to, automatically solve their problem. Do you notice kaning MCWD when they say nga mag-power off sila? So walay supply, diba? Walay supply sa tubig, so water shortage. Pero, iguman sa 5 ka oras o 3 ka oras, 3 ka oras, wala kayo supply in that area. Pero after 3 hours, ibalik naman sa. It's the depletion, it's the lack, but it's temporary in nature. Whereas scarcity, this is more permanent. Can we get another land? Yato lang idungag diri para masumpayan ang sa inyo. Dili gyapon, di ba? O niya. Masige taghandom sa una, para pa na siya sa CNU ang PSP, correct. But there was once a president of CNU who had given a piece of land to national government because during that time, pag president niya, there were only 200 students in CNU. Yeah. From here until the whole BSP, padung pag sa Santo Rosario, apil na sa CNU. So he did not realize that there would come a time that CNU already reached around 11,000 students. But included na ana ang atong CNU Balamban o CNU Midilian. But ana nakadaghan ba? Sa una sa 200, dako kay space. So iyang gihatag balik sa national government ang kanadiang nga area. And the national government gave it to the PSP because during that time, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas was looking for a regional office sa Region 7. Mauna na. Dako kay sa parking space, no? Kay gamay ka ng building, yung kita rin din ang konsiso. But dili naman na natin pwede bawion. Diba? So, it's permanent. But the thing here is, how do you solve this? If here, dali na kayo, madungagan ang suntay, okay na, in scarcity, how do you solve this problem? Ha? This is the reason why we have and why we study economics. Because economics tries to solve the problem of scarcity, not shortage. Because shortage is temporary. It's scarcity that is more pending. And this is now how societies in the world address the problem of scarcity. We study economics. And so, what is economics? How do we solve the problem of scarcity? When you have 1,000 pesos and then you have a very long list, 1 to 50, yung 1 to grocery, asa ka number ko to ma'am? Sa imo 1,000, yeah, mag-grocery ka lang to para sa imo Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Yung 1,000 may budget. Yung listahan 1 to 50. Ako ba 1 to 100? Asa ako ito yung mapalitan sa 1,000? Kuto ba ka sa 5? Oh, naningon din ako ni estudyante. Bili ko, uy, ako dyan i-budget. Nga maapot dyan ako ang 1 to 50 niya. Ginagmay-gagmayon dyan ako sa tanan. Oh, or mupalit daw siya ka ng walay brand. Para bakato. What if dili mo eksakto? What do you do as a mother? Paliton bilhin mo tanan? No. In reality, what do we do, ma'am? Correct. You choose which ones are the most important. And so, that is the key then. That is how you solve scarcity. You make choices. You prioritize. And I always speak about this in my econ class and in my other master's classes. Economics is the science of choices. It tells you that you cannot have the monopoly of resources and you have to choose because you are only given a limit. How do societies make a choice? It is reflected through the society's economic systems. Diba? Kisa mentioned kanina, somebody mentioned about capitalism. Then you mentioned, right? Or, I prefer to use, not the word capitalism, but I prefer to use this word. So economics, we use this. Economic system would mean market economy. Have you heard of this? Which is actually capitalism. Then there is command economy, which means communism. And then there is mixed economy, or socialism. This is how societies or countries or nations in the world make choices through their economic systems. Philippines, what kind of an economic system do we have? Market economy or capitalism. That's why in the Philippines, individually, we can make our choices. Pwede ka mo pili. Like later, lunchtime, asa kumukahon? Mag-inasal ako kay Andy ang rice. Pinapagin free nga sabaw. Eh, bugnaw ba ang panahon? Ako sasad, ay, layo ka ayaw mag-inasal. Gari lang ako sa Jollibee. You can make your choice because we are a market economy. We are capitalists. But had the Philippines been a command economy, can we make our choices? No. You cannot even choose to be teachers. Because in a command economy, it's the government that makes the choices for us. And so, when you go to a command economy like that of the former USSR or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, karon wala naman, di ba? Kaya pag early 1990s na bungkag naman, nahimo na siyang independent na siya, dito, ang government ang utanaw, uy, kani siya bright of math, no? Iyang competency, may siya math, inclined towards engineering. This person is highly intellectual, grabe ang analytical skills for lawyering. This person is very good in terms of land, farming. No choice because ang ilang system allows for government to decide for everyone. That's why there, in a highly command economy, walay markets, walay tindahan. Kay, di ba kakilala magtindahan? Kaya ang gobyerno man ang nagkait sa tanan. So ang tagahimog sapatos, tagahimog salina, government-owned ang mga factories. So from factories, diretso siya distribute sa mga balay. North Korea is siguro ang pinaka-near perfect example of a command economy. Kay all others, even China, even Cuba, kung ano man sila, mixed naman sila. Sa mixed economy, naay decisions na pwede sa individual, pero naay decisions na government lang ang makadesign. Like China, for example, diba? In China, you see a lot of nanay mga malls. Diba? Nanay Jollibee, nanay Jollibee sa China. But, in terms of sa mixed economy, naay government lang makadesign. In terms of, for example, the number of children, sa China, it's still one-child policy. You are only allowed to have 2 children if one of you, ikaw or imong bana, is an only child. So, kung usa sa inyo, sa unang yun kay, kung kamong duha only child mo, pwede mo makaduhag anak. Pero karon nas ni revise ilang one-child policy. You can have 2 children, mo hindi na maximum duha. If one of you, if the mother is an only child, pwede mo magduhag anak. Pero kung kamong duha, kung gikan sa family nga tagduha-duha, usa yun inyong anak. And that policy cannot be changed because ilaha is mixed economy. Unang swerte dan in a way because we are the masters of our own fate. We are the captain of English major no, of course. But ang point is, it's up to you. Because if you also do not strive very hard, you might be left behind. That's why in a market economy, you see a lot of people living in the streets. You see a lot of squatters, a lot of informal settlers. But if it's a command economy, everything is provided for by government. Pero dili wala sa individual decision making. This is how countries make their choices. So kamo, some of you, I think, nag-GPE, di ba? Because you thought this is the profession you wanted, but later you realized it's not. That's actually economics. It's a science of choices. And to wrap up, there's something related to choices, and you call it OC. Not obsessive-compulsive disorder, ha? It's opportunity cost. Very important in economics, this concept. What is this? Di ba when you make your choice, what happens to the rest? Naman kayo hindi mo pilihan, di ba? For example, if you are very pretty, no? E na kayo mga 5 ka suitor A, B, C, D, E, ikapili ni mo sa mga suitors ni mo, asa ka nila. Ipili ni mo ni suitor C, si A, B, D, o E, luwi kayo ano mo na pilihan. In life, it's also like that. For us to make a choice, there will be a cost to that opportunity. You get the point? Like let's say for example, mapilihan ka, Jollibee o Mang Inasal. Nipili ka ni Mang Inasal. The opportunity cost for you to choose Mang Inasal was Jollibee. You get the point? Opportunity cost is the next best alternative that you forgo in order for you to make your choice. Or nakapanghinuklog si ma'am. If you choose to become a teacher, the other profession which was nearest to your heart, let's say for example to be a nurse, that was the opportunity cost for you to be a teacher. If you are here listening to me, despite the gloomy weather outside, being in your homes, no, spending time with your family was the opportunity cost for you to listen to me here today. In everything that we choose, there is always the next alternative that we did not choose, and that is the opportunity cost. Get the point? If you will be attending a Christmas party, anytime soon, and you only have a budget for either a new pair of sandals, kaya mga babae, kailangan din na magbago sa mag-party. Hindi mo kayo ma-afford either bagong salina or bagong sandal. Kung piliin mo ang sandal, ang opportunity cost ang salina. Huwag ka nakapalit ng salina, kaya palit kang sandal. Opportunity cost. And we do not realize it, but almost every minute of every day, we make choices. And there will always be cost to that choice. And that is opportunity cost. Clear? Okay. Do you need a break or not? 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll flash sample questions. Sample questions, we will answer them together. I have 5 sample questions. We answer, we analyze them together. And then after that, I'll give you individual